There is an attempt to influence the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court must resist it, Frank Tietie says. Wow. I know there will always be attempt to, there will always be attempt to influence the Supreme Court. Yeah, we know about that. The whole Nigerians, in fact, if there will be something will be wrong, it will appear to be wrong if there is nothing like influencing the Supreme Court. That would be abnormal, because the normal thing is influencing the judiciary in Nigeria to pervert justice or judgment for themselves. So if this Supreme Court is working normally, no influence, then that would be abnormal in the eyes of many Nigerians, because that would be a shift from the norm. The norm is influencing the judiciary for judgment perversion. So, but again, let's see what Frank Tietie has to say here, and how that implies or applies to the ongoing Supreme Court judgment. There is an attempt to influence the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court must resist it, Frank Tietie says. During an interview with Arise, a Nigerian lawyer and analyst, Frank Tietie, said there is an attempt to influence the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court must resist it. According to Frank Tietie, the Supreme Court on its own pushed the application of Hope Uzodinma, and that is the interesting thing. And from nowhere again, it decides it is not hearing it again. So something fishy is going on. I doubt very much that the Supreme Court will shoot itself in the foot, or will shoot itself in the foot with that type of action, until I am satisfied that that kind of direction is coming from the Chief Justice of Nigeria. He continued, I think that there is an attempt to influence the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court must resist everything possible to, or do everything possible to resist it. I am a fan of the fact that we will continue to manage our judiciary no matter how bad it is. Nevertheless, the judiciary cannot open itself to such ridicule, total disrespect, and disregard for Nigerians. When it begins to constantly suspect that justice delivery is interfered with by much political interference. Okay, so is it? So this guy is talking about the state of Supreme Court in Nigeria. Of course, in all the cases that have gone from tribunal to the appeal court and then to the Supreme Court will always be influenced. They've always been influenced in the past. After all, cases like the case that was against Peter Odile, the former governor of Rivers State, between 1999 and 2007, then Peter Odile's wife was a Supreme Court judge or thereabout. Okay, that matter was taken to Supreme Court, and the matter was closed, and they said no court in Nigeria should hear the matter or entertain the matter again. They sealed it once and for all. The same way they did in bringing Hope Uzodinma, imposing Hope Uzodinma on Imo State as their governor. The same thing they did on the senatorial challenge for Ahmad Lawan, the immediate past Senate president, as a senator, okay, who did not participate in the APC primaries, but eventually become the senator representing that unit. The same way for Pabio, who did not participate in APC senatorial primaries in Akwa Ibom State, but had to win in the court, and now the Senate president. So the judiciary has a record of being influenced to pervert judgment. Okay, so what this man is saying is absolutely correct. The Supreme Court need to learn to redeem their image. They need to learn to say the truth. They need to learn to resist temptation. They need to learn to resist politicians' influences. That is it. They need to learn how to stand their ground and do the needful. Because, like I said earlier, the judiciary has been so impoverished, poverty has so taken over them, that when they see small money, they're ready to sell out. And that is a tool that the politicians, especially the executives and the legislators, are using against them in the judiciary. They know that they can buy them, and they know they can dictate for them. And then secondly, with this issue of the presidential executive being responsible for appointing the CJN of Nigeria, appointing the Attorney General of the Federation, appointing key heads of the key parastatals, there's no way that they will not be compromised because they use it as a compensatory rule for their boys, for their loyalists. And so when you are compensated with that kind of rule, you are ready to cooperate, you are ready to comply, you are ready to obey, you are ready to be influenced. They say he who pays the piper dictates the tone. So if the piper is nominated and paid by his taskmaster, he has no choice but to play according to the master's dictates. That is exactly what judiciary are turned to in Nigeria. So they will always be influenced. Quite an unfortunate situation, I tell you. It's going to take a while before Nigeria can get out of it. Okay. And there are a few comments here. Somebody say, if you are still there supporting this government because of tribal or religious sentiment, remember $1 today, as we speak, is 1,190 naira. So think and have sense, if at all you have sense before. Since we, the youth, have become so foolish and weak to take back this country, that is going down every day from these underworld politicians. Rather, we are there lending our support for them to enslave us the more. Thanks, Engineer ABC cares. But that is it. Okay. But exactly, the guy has just said the truth, and I love that. Someone say, who are the youths that wants to take Nigeria back, please? Abi, we don't have youths, Abi. We don't have youths. Supreme Court is compromised already. Don't expect magic, okay? And that is what we know. They're already telling Atiku to prove his case against Tinubu beyond reasonable doubt, to provide evidence that will prove that his CSU certificate is forged beyond reasonable doubt. That will tell you that they already predetermined the judgment, and nothing good is going to come out of it. As I say, so if they don't rule in your favor, they compromise. What give you people confidence that Obi or Atiku had the case? Atiku said Tinubu forged CSU certificate and he didn't attend the school as believed, but he went to the school and obtained his academic record. So what is the evidence that he didn't attend the school? Can you imagine? Look at the narrative they're creating. Okay, that's fine. So that is the state of things here. And I saw another person saying, you are just a professional blackmailer towards a mischievous, can you imagine, mischievous person. The same game plus utterances you people peddled during presidential tribunal, which you failed woefully, shamelessly, and mischievously. You are coming from your own cocoon again. You will all fail, inshallah. Can you imagine? These are the people that don't see anything wrong with what is happening. Integrity has been murdered, been thrown into the bush and buried. That is it. Quite unfortunate. Really, really, really unfortunate that Nigeria is in this mess. So thank you for listening, and let's have your comment.